Well, guys, we got some free time. Get some parts gathered up here. We got our mandrel bent 3-inch exhaust pieces. We got two 180s, two 90s, two 45s, and two 4-foot sticks. We got our flex couplers. I have another piece of 3-inch I had, turbo here. We're going to start laying out this exhaust because it's been like 80 all the last week, 75, 80 degrees. The sun's shining and beautiful, and everybody else got their hot rods out. Our hot rod ain't out yet, so we got to start on this. What we're probably going to do, like I said, is I'm going to trim these inner fenders out a little bit. I'm not going to cut them completely out. I'm thinking about just cutting this part here out. Get that cut out on each side, and then that should give me room. And then what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to come off this turbo here, snake down with this part cut out here. I should be able to get down below. I can reroute these brake lines if I have to. They're the original, so I have plenty of line. I can rebend them or make new lines. I'm going to get down there. I'm going to duck underneath the steering shaft, bend down in the frame, and then it's going to come out, and I'm going to dump it right here, kind of where I had it dumped last time. I'm going to dump it here behind the front tires. There at the fender there. And then I'll have a loud valve on each end there, them boost actuated cutouts. That'll open at about 4 psi. And then we'll tie into that, and we're going to run back with like just, 2-inch exhaust off of that back through a couple glass packs. That way when we're cruising around, light load, the car's, tolerable. You can hear yourself think. You can hear your phone ring. You can listen to the radio. Plus it won't be as menacing sounding as we drive around because I said we do drive this every day. This is my warm weather daily driver, and I really miss driving it. So we're going to set up, cut them inner fenders and start laying everything out, guys, and we'll see how it goes, and I'll update the progress on the video. And man, I can't wait to see what happens. Our goal is to make it a little bit better. We said we was running like 670s in the 8th with the single turbo, and it was really out of airflow. It couldn't flow anymore. So now that we got the twins on there, she should make a little bit more steam. It's a 3,500 pound car, but I would really like to see at least 120 in the quarter. Right now we're at about 102, so we're 120 in the 8th, sorry. Right now we're about 102. We are going 120 in a quarter, but I would like to get there in the 8th. I would like to get this, low 6s. Maybe a 590. But still be able to drive it. So, alright guys, let's get to work. Well, it's a little smoky in here, but we got our inner fender trimmed a little bit with the cutoff wheel here. I mean, we'll take and clean it up once we get done. I wanted to leave the majority of the inner fender well in there. Like I said, I could always even come into this with some flat aluminum and make a spot to seal it off. I just needed clearance for that exhaust pipe, and I didn't want to take the inner fenders all the way out because I don't want all that crud getting flung up underneath the hood. So, I mean, I'm still going to get some in here, but basically what I was trying to do was make some room for the exhaust. Now, it looks like if I move these brake lines there, I should be able to bring my pipe off of the back of the turbo there, bring it over here, drop it down underneath, and get it inside the frame here. We'll see how far we got here. Maybe we can keep it outside the frame rail, but what's done is done. I mean, and I don't feel too bad about cutting the inner fenders. I just didn't want to cut the sheet metal. I mean, I know I could have took the easy route. I could have just, if I wanted to be your typical, if it was going to be an actual, just a race car, not drive it on the street, I mean, I could have just took some 90s, went like that, blowed a hole in the fender, and called it done. But we don't want to do that. We want to try to make it pretty nice, so, well, nicer. We don't want it to be a hack job. So the good news is on there, like I said, I'm either going to put a manual box on it, Or if I do just put the power steering box on it, which I could, I can take the reservoir because, I mean, you can see it fits and it's close. I can reroute this hose, but you can see how close that's going to be to the elbow. And that circle drawn there is where the wastegate's going to be mounted on this elbow. That's close for the power steering. I don't think I'd be able to take that dipstick out with the turbo in place. But a van has a remote reservoir pump, so maybe we'll just go find a van pump. We can mount a small reservoir up here on the fender well, run the lines down to it there, and be able to retain power steering on here and keep everything good. Everything's going to be wrapped with heat wrap anyway under here, so I think it's going to work out good. This side was the side it was tight. The other side, I really won't have to cut much out, but I'm going to cut some out to be symmetrical anyway. I'll just cut right down this inner seam, just like about like I cut on the other one, and just cut this inner out here. And that'll give me just a little bit better routing, like I said, to get it, because remember, we are using 3-inch down pipes. And I really like how it turned out, so let's get back to work. So I figure I'll work on the passenger side first. That's the easiest. I'm going to cut this inner a little bit here. Trim it out. I mean, although it really don't need it. This is all getting wrapped in pipe wrap. That's off of that turbo, though. Looks good. I'm going to move that hot wire. Just minimal. And I should be able to run down. And like I said, I'm going to kick it right out here at the tire with a loud valve on it. So that looks good. I think I can live with that. And then that not really burning much. I can use these 180s if I have to. Like I said, this is the hard side. What are you going to do? I got to quit saying that. This is my hard side. Because this is the side with no real room. I did cut that inner fender out. That's going to give me a lot more room. I'll show you from this side what I meant by it. See, I trimmed some of it out of there. Like I said, that's going to get my downpipe through. So that should work there. I still can rotate these. I got to plumb my cold side, but everything's looking all right. This is kind of the direction I was planning on going. I'm definitely going to have enough room to get down there and under that steering shaft. Man, it would have sure been easier just to go out the fenders. But streetcar, I mean, you can't have 2-3 inch fender dumps in a streetcar if you're really, really going to drive it. Yeah, you could call it a streetcar and sneak around and hope that the police doesn't really bother you, but in all honesty, if you're driving around with 3-inch fender dumps, it's only a matter of time. You're going to pull up beside a state trooper or even a local, and he's just going to shake his head at you and tell you can't do that. So we want to avoid that. We want to make it, like I said, where the car is quiet. If we take it to the drive-in or whatever, honestly, nobody should ever suspect anything on this car. I mean, yeah, the locals around here, they all know the car because I drive it so much. Most of the young kids can't hear the turbo or anything. But with this running down there like that, cut back short enough that you can't see the dumps. I mean, I might even dump them straight at the ground. It doesn't really matter where they dump. And run this back. I could even run a 3-inch exhaust on. I have enough pieces too. Because that pipe kit had a lot of pieces to it. It's got those 2 4-foot pieces. That's almost enough to go all the way back. I wouldn't run tailpipes anyway. I don't have enough room back there. And just with the G-body gas tank on this year's sets offset, so you wouldn't have enough room back there anyway for 3-inch tailpipes. But I'll run it back there. Like I said, I will use a straight through, just like an 18-inch long 3-inch glass pack. It can be a little loud. It's no big deal. Maybe I'll put 90s on them and kick them out here in front of the tires. Or cut them back short and bring them out on 45s. And I got some 4-inch tips I can stick on there to make it look a little meaner. So we could try something like that. But we're about, I don't know, an hour and a half into it here. And at least I got something figured out. I don't want to quit tonight until I get this exhaust at least mocked up enough that I can start welding on it. I'm running out of time so quickly. I need to get done. Alright guys, yep. Well, I think we're about to wrap up for tonight, but good news is we figured it out. Looks like it's going to come down off of there. I got to put that flex coupler in there somewhere. Probably on the drop down here. I could probably cut this back up here to here, and I could put that flex coupler. That'll give me a little bit of wiggle room there anyway. At the end of that flex coupler, I'm going to put a V-band. V-band it. A tight radius elbow here is going to run over across the frame rail right there, which I'm going to have another V-band to drop it. I'm going to have to make this with 2 or 3 V-band. Well, 2 V-bands in this pipe alone, because I'd never be able to get this pipe on and off the car once it's all welded into one piece. So 2 V-bands there. It's going to drop down, kick underneath, and I really think I decided, I don't even know if I'm going to go with the loud valves. I think I'm just going to, once I get it down underneath the car, I think I'm just going to run these dual 2 pieces of 4-foot stick here, because in all actuality, the 3-inch downpipe, I could see one single 3-inch downpipe restricting a lot on this motor, but the fact is 1 3-inch downpipe per bank should be plenty, and I really don't even know if I'm going to need to cut out. I might just run them back there, put them 4-foot sticks, run it back to about the middle of the car, put a V-band at the end of each of them 4-foot sections, and then put a set of glass packs with the 45 turnouts back there kicking out with the V-bands, and when I street drive it, I can just run the mufflers on it, and if I'm going to take it to the track and run it, I can, and I might even, since I got some spare the flanges for the V-bands, I could even make up 2 different sets of tailpipes off of these 4-foot extensions. I could make a set of straight pipe extensions. They just come out the 4, and even before I put the glass packs on, I'll just run them straight out with 45 mount the side. Because if it's not that loud inside, no louder, there's some guys running around with some pretty loud exhausts around here, not getting bothered. I think if I run it out with tailpipes like that, I could probably get away with it without mufflers. Like I said, I don't think it's going to restrict enough. I mean, we might have to run over to the dyno, make a couple pulls, and see, with them on. I could take them apart here at the V-bands up here front. I'm just going to V-band the whole thing to make it easy to put in and take out. I V-band the whole thing up here at the front, and then we'll see how it works. I might even be able to just, since I'm going to do that, I'll probably just put the flex couplers down there where it finally goes level and runs back. I got to bend up some flat steel here. These flanges here, these header flanges, they got the T3 and T4 bolt pattern, so I might just put some studs in the T3 ones on the bottom there, or the longer bolt like I have running through there, and I'm going to take some flat angle or some flat steel, and I'm going to make a reinforcement bar to come off of them over the motor to carry the weight of the turbo. That way the turbos are rocking with the motor. That way I'm not fatiguing these headers that the turbos are mounted to, because they're pretty heavy hanging out there. So we're going to make some kind of bracket to hang the weight of this off of the engine itself. That way it can move. And then we'll make sure that these pipes here can move a little bit with the engine too. And then the rest of the exhaust that's going to flex with the chassis will be mounted behind the flex couplers and out the back. I think that's going to work a lot better. See, that's pretty wild. That's what happens when you think on your feet as you're going. I really like that idea. Like I said, I can always change it if I don't like it. If it's too loud, I'll have V-bands underneath there anyway, so I can always just throw a set of mufflers on it for street cruising if it kills that much power. In all honesty, I think dual 3-inch pipes, 6-liter, that length of pipe shouldn't kill much more than a few. I know a muffler is said to kill 100 horsepower, so most of those guys are running a single turbo with just like a single 4-inch downpipe. 2 3-inch downpipes, that's equivalent to run a 6-inch pipe. That should be plenty for all the air we're ever going to move through this. I mean, this is a stock bottom end motor. It's a relatively mild cam. I think we'll be all right. I think it's going to work out great. All right, guys. That's going to about wrap me up for tonight. All I got to do now, I'm going to go in and get ready, make my list of what I need for V-bands. Looks like 4 Probably just get 6 3-inch V-bands just to have them to be safe. That'll let me put everything together the way I need it. We'll get everything laid out. When we come back next time, we'll have the underneath exhaust. Everything routed here, tacked up, routed out there, and then we'll go with the under the car exhaust and see how everybody likes it. Till then, guys, thanks a lot. I appreciate everybody watching. This is Sam at White Trash Motorsports, signing off. And remember, guys, you can sleep in your car, but you can't race your house. We'll see you on part 2 of our turbo exhaust video. Thanks for watching.